Each glass holds 2½ cups. We only have a ½ cup of chocolate chips. We need to know what fraction of the whole glass we have filled. Well, if we look, this side of our glass is measured in half units. So we can count that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections worth a ½ cup each. We filled one of them, so we filled 1/5 of the cup. We can get to this same answer by solving the division problem 1/2 divided by 2½ We use 1/2 as our dividend because it tells us how many chocolate chips we have. We use 2½ as our divisor because it tells us how we're going to group it. We wouldn't want to set it up the other way with 2½ first because then we'd be giving the cups to the chips instead of the chips to the cups. So we solve 1/2 divided by 2½. In order to solve this, we first have to make 2½ into an improper fraction. I can multiply my dividend of 2 by my whole number of 2 to give me 4, and add my numerator of 1 to give me 5. So 2½ is 5/2. Now we're solving 1/2 divided by 5/2. We can then follow our rules for dividing fractions and turn it into a multiplication problem. My dividend of 1/2 stays the same, division becomes multiplication, and I take the reciprocal of 5/2 to become 2/5. Now we can follow our rules for multiplying fractions. 1 times 2 gives me 2 in my numerator. 5 times 2 gives me 10 in our denominator. We can then simplify 2/10 to lowest terms using the common factor of 2, and we get 1/5. So no matter whether or not we have the actual chips or we solve the division problem, either way we fill 1/5 of the total glass. We're going to solve 1 3/4 divided by 2 1/5. The first thing we need to do is change our improper fractions to mixed numbers. So to do that, I'm going to do 4 times 1 to give me 4, plus 3 to give me 7, and my denominator of 4 stays the same. On the 2 1/5, 5 times 2 gives me 10, plus 1 gives me 11, and my denominator of 5 stays the same. Now I can follow my rules for dividing fractions. My dividend of 7/4 stays the same. My division sign changes to a multiplication sign, and I take the reciprocal of my 11/5, so that becomes 5/11. Now I can follow my rules for multiplying fractions. 7 times 5 gives me 35. 4 times 11 gives me 44. 35 and 44 don't have any common factors, so that is our final answer in lowest terms.